It brings me no pleasure in saying Terence Davis is facing 7 charges in New York, including allegedly assaulting his girlfriend in front of his kid. And what does this mean for the future of not only Terence Davis, but the future of the Toronto Raptors? Welcome to Amateur Hour Sports, where we just hit 700 subscribers. A crazy week. We went from 600 to 700 in the span of just a few days. Thank you so much to everybody who was kind enough to hit that subscribe button and want to continue rocking with me on this channel. I just hope I can keep supplying the good Raptors content for you. But today, not good news to bring you, and it's not good things for me to talk about. I don't really want to bring down the mood on the channel, but this is something I feel like I need to address on this channel. A lot of you were talking about it on my last video because it was such relevant news at the time. So it happened Wednesday morning. I made a video Wednesday morning. Wasn't prepared to talk about this before any more information came out. There hasn't been a lot of developments in this story about Terence Davis, but I'm going to do my best with what I have at the moment in regards to TD2. So if you're living under a rock and somehow you don't know what's going on, Terence Davis, like I said in the intro, is facing 7 charges by the police in New York. Apparently in an apartment, he allegedly assaulted his girlfriend with a closed fist. He's also being charged for criminal mischief, among other things. And also, apparently this happened in front of his kid who was watching the whole time. And in the midst of all the chaos going on at the time of the event, his kid was knocked over. We don't have a lot of information in regards to this. We don't know if everything we're reading is true about this situation, but I'm not defending Terence Davis at all when I say that, but we're basically learning what's false about this story, because there's definitely a lot of true elements about this. This didn't just get conceived out of thin air. This story wasn't conceived out of nowhere. This story came from somewhere, and we're trying to learn what isn't true about it and what is true. But the likeliest scenario is that most, if not all of it, is in fact true. So how do you handle a guy like this? How do you handle this as an organization? The Raptors have done a tremendous job over the last short period of time, maybe the last few years, in being a very progressive organization, especially this year in 2020, given everything going on in the world. The Raptors have done a great job in being a progressive organization, whether it's taking a big stand for the Black Lives Matter movement, the players really evoking the emotion that it's not just that they want to support BLM, it's that with their position of power in social justice, in social media, with their power, it is their duty to support things like that. They wanted to make Scotiabank a place where U.S. citizens living in Canada could go vote because of how important it is to go vote. Among other things, the Raptors have done so many good things for the community, for the world, to create change, to create positivity. So right now, you cannot change those values. The values you have instilled that everybody significantly respects you for, they cannot change in this moment. And if these allegations are true, then the Raptors will have no choice but to cut Terence Davis from their team. They made a short statement. They made a good statement. From a PR standpoint, this is exactly what they needed to say. These allegations came out, and the Raptors said, we're aware of the reports. We are seeking more information. Perfect. You don't need to make a decision right now. You need to evaluate the circumstances as a unit. Everybody in the high-ups is definitely talking about this. This has been their concern for the last couple of days. They're going over this. They're trying to find more information. There's not going to be another court case, I think, until December 10th is what I read, a while before we hear another court case. But as of right now, looking at it, it does not look good. And like I said, the Raptors need to hold firm on the values that they have created for themselves. In that scenario, you have no choice but to cut this guy from your team. It's like the Blue Jays when Roberto Osuna, one of the best closers in the league with a great future ahead of him, and he had these assault charges against him. The Blue Jays unfortunately had to cut him. Now, what I do not want to see if the Raptors cut this guy, I don't want to see anybody picking him up. If these allegations are true, I don't want to see anybody picking up Terence Davis, a player with a very bright future ahead of him, second team all rookie, but some things are bigger than basketball. And I don't want to see anybody defending him in the comments here. You come here for what I believe on this, and I believe in this scenario, there's no decision. Terence Davis, if these allegations aren't true, he can't be on the team anymore. He can't be in the NBA anymore. And, usually in these videos, I like to promote discussion, disagreement. Not this time. Not this time, because this is not okay. It is not okay to support somebody like this. Again, I'm assuming these allegations are true, which, I'm feeling that they are. If they come out that they aren't, fantastic. But it seems like a lot of them are, and if they are true, he can't be in the NBA. And if you don't agree with that, we have a problem. This isn't like a sports opinion discussion. This is how it should be. I fully believe that this is how it should be when it comes to Terence Davis. What's good for the Raptors from a business standpoint is that if they cut Terence Davis before free agency opens, he's not guaranteed the money he's supposed to make next season. So the Raptors don't need to cut him and waste their money paying a guy who's on these charges, who they cut from their team. So it's great that if it's all sorted out in the next month and a little bit, they don't have to pay Terence Davis next year. Fantastic news from the organization. They can allocate that money elsewhere. From a team standpoint, yeah, you can talk about how off-the-court stuff doesn't really factor into the basketball stuff because it's about what produces on the court. Not in this case. Not with something as severe as this, which doesn't align with the core values of your organization or the league that they are trying to create at this given time. Some things are bigger than basketball, and this is something that is bigger, much bigger, and far beyond basketball. This cannot go on with the organization, and it's painful that, Terence Davis was likely in the future, the big future plans, the big picture in the future of the Toronto Raptors organization, and it's all going to go to waste. It's sad to see a career get thrown away like this, but Terence Davis, even if it's a regrettable decision, he made his decision. He knew the consequences, and he still did it. He didn't have to do it. There's never an excuse for doing this, so Terence Davis deserves the repercussions that he gets. The Raptors will struggle to replace him, but basketball goes on. The Raptors move on. Everybody goes on. It's a big blow to the future plans of the franchise, but you move on. If Fred VanVleet does end up leaving the Toronto Raptors, now all of a sudden I'm not confident with the guard depth that we had. It was nice, having Kyle Lowry, Terence Davis, Norman Powell to rotate those three positions. Maybe you can add Matt Thomas as a fourth, getting a little bit less minutes. Doesn't really work anymore. You really need to bring Fred VanVleet back to your team now because the guard depth just isn't there. It would have been so nice to be able to use that money elsewhere. So nice to see this guy, Terence Davis, coming out of college, undrafted, and making this big splash in the NBA. And a lot of guys trusting him to be, a starting shooting guard or a six-man later on in his career. I am one who made a full video on Terence Davis, talking about how I think he's going to turn into a great player in the NBA. Anything I have said in the past about Terence Davis, about his future as an NBA player, please, if these allegations are true, disregard any talk I've had about him. I don't want to associate with somebody who's performed an act like this willingly. It just doesn't align with my core values, my morals, not at all. I can't support something like this. I really, really am happy that right now I haven't seen much of support for Terence Davis in terms of how they think the Raptors should keep this guy on their team. For the most part, I think 90% plus of what I've seen, at least 90% of what I've seen, is the same thing as what I'm saying. The decision needs to be made. It's a tough decision, but it is the only decision in this. When it comes to the Toronto Raptors and when it comes to Terence Davis, if these allegations are true any of it. If any of it is true, he cannot be on the Raptors anymore. And I really hope that every other team in the NBA understands the same thing and doesn't bring this guy back into the NBA after he gets cut by the Toronto Raptors. Bottom line is, Terence Davis made this choice. He's going to regret it for the rest of his life, but he made this choice, and it is not okay. The repercussions are going to be justified for Terence Davis. There's no taking it back. This is an inexcusable act. It's an inexcusable and heinous act that can't be tolerated. For that reason, I think that his NBA career is over. It's sad to see such a promising young career go to waste like this, but that's how it's going to have to be. So a different mood for this video. I'll bring back the upbeat kind of content tomorrow, but this is something that did need to be addressed on this channel. When you have a channel about the Raptors, you do need to talk about the relevant information like this. I'm just giving my opinion on this, but there can't be any other opinions. There can't be anything supporting Terence Davis at a time like this. I'm sure the Raptors as an organization will make the right decision about this, but it does not look good at the moment. But thank you so much for watching if you are here. Thank you for all the support on the channel that I've been receiving over the last week. I really do appreciate every single one of you who has been rocking with the channel, who is just starting to rock with the channel, and who is going to rock with the channel in the future. Thank you so much for everybody for that support. It's been an unbelievable week, going up from 600 to 700 subscribers in that short amount of time. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot say it enough. At the end of the day, I believe what I say, but today if you disagree, that is not okay. There's only one thing that can happen out of this, and that is the Raptors taking care of business. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you again next time for another video.